All right, guys, this is Dr. Bananas. We are doing a continuing impressions of a game I've been checking out on stream called Exoprimal. So this is basically, we did maybe 3 hours on stream, and I want to actually no, I'm sorry, 2 hours on stream or so. So I wanted to kind of take this off stream, do a little bit of play on my own, and let's take a look and see if we can figure out a little bit more about this game and try to see if, you know, how much more, you know, is this something we're going to kind of maybe rotate and, you know, play for a couple more streams, or this is just maybe potentially do a review on, or is this just, you know, is this something we'll rotate in and out? We're just going to do the regular old kind of what we were doing on stream. We're just going to be hitting this random. I'm kind of we're going to keep the same loadout of, we'll start with Deadeye. We're using cannon, and, you know, depending on the team composition that we kind of saw, we'll change up as necessary. Kind of what we were seeing on stream was there, you know, I think the times whenever we were the most successful, I think we had 2 supports, 2 DPS, you know, 1 tank, right? That's more or less kind of what you see a lot in these kinds of games, where, you know, you try to balance it out between what you've got for support and what you've got for your DPS, and then tank usually will have like 1. I don't know, maybe that might change later on, but we're gonna do a couple more. We're gonna do a little bit more time with this and see how we feel, and, you know, maybe this will give you an idea of whether or not you want to check this out. So I've been digging a little bit more into the background of this game. Some of the kind of game, I wouldn't call them journalists, but game, what's the best word? We'll just call them the talking heads of the game news world. I've been talking about this game a little bit, and part of it is they had very similar things that they were surprised about with this game. The big one being the story, right? So again, like what we saw in the live stream, is the story in this is kind of bonkers. Like, it's very bombastic. It's very much like, hey, it's definitely trying to go for a thing. And, you know, I'm kind of here for it. It's kind of cool. I don't necessarily think this is a bad way to do a story in a, you know, what, especially like in a multiplayer focused game. You've kind of given me the conceit of this AI that wants to build better exosuits, so he kind of transdimensionally kidnaps these exosuit pilots into his testing arena, and, you know, it seems like maybe it might also be being broadcast to people to enjoy and watch. So there's a little bit of like a Thunderdome aspect to it. Like I said, is the game runs like this. I've been having a lot of fun. Ooh, Specs game bar just flashed at me. I've been having a lot of fun just kind of, you know, just kind of just shooting. Like, I don't know if there's, I'm sure there's a kind of a deeper strategy to it, but so far it seems like as long as I'm kind of just shooting in the same direction, or, you know, doing what I need to help my teammates out, seems to be working pretty well. And the shooting is easy. It's not very, you know, there's very little recoil, as we kind of discovered on stream. You know, even on ADS, there's just not a lot of, you know, I'm not controlling all there. It's just let it go. Just let it fly. You know? You have abilities. We kind of covered this already, but in our first impressions, but it's very much an ability focused game. We definitely want to be trying to mitigate, or not mitigate, I'm sorry, flip through these cooldowns, you know, use them appropriately when needed. We definitely don't need to be holding cooldowns, especially if it's something that could be potentially advantageous for a team. there's a couple of different dinosaur types. So you have the raptors, you have the, you have these Pachycephalosaurus that are a little bit tankier, but not too tanky. And you've got the flyers that kind of, you have the flyers that kind of just peck at you and are just kind of weird, like very, very annoying. And then you've got the bigger ones, like we've seen the Triceratops already, we've seen the Tyrannosaurus, and those seem to be typically the ones that are commandeered by the and those seem to be the ones that are commandeered the most whenever the other team does an invasion. And the loop is pretty fun. I'm still enjoying this kind of loop. I'm still enjoying this loop of, go in, do these missions, get out, do it again, right? And the matchmaking, at least so far, seems pretty quick. All right. Sick. That's a lot of fun. Yeah, there's a revive mechanic. If you saw there, one of our guys was down, flashes up the big rotating cross, and you just go over there and kind of hold the use button on them, and they'll eventually be able to get back up. I'll kind of focus a little, just kind of let this kind of gameplay section speak for itself, because there's just not a whole lot to say. It's very, very simple.
Faster than the enemy team. Proceed to next mission. Initiating dinosaur colony. Preparing combat area. Please wait. Summoning Pachycephalosaurus. Summon raptors.
Yeah, we're progressing pretty quickly. It's really interesting too, because this has a very good, interesting kind of lull. Like, it does a little bit of the Left 4 Dead thing where it lets you breathe a little bit. It doesn't feel too terribly oppressive all the time, right? Oh, we have a bot. Okay. Interesting.
Warning. You will now commence the final mission. Brace yourselves for interdimensional travel. Prepare for combat.
Yeah, it just has a good way. It has a good. It definitely has a good sense of I think Monster Hunter, like, I'm kind of thinking about how like Monster Hunter kind of does this, is that especially because it's by Capcom it's by Capcom as well, is that it very much is okay with letting you take a second to breathe and let you understand what you just did.
powerful dinosaur incoming. Prioritize its destruction. Summoning Tyrannosaurus. Dinosaur call. Follow the Watcher. Proceed to next mission.
Oh, what's this? Huh, I don't know what that was. That's the first. I think that's the first time I've ever seen like an item drop. That was very strange. Oh, okay, interesting. It gave me I think abilities to put up a wall.
Summoning Tyrannosaurus.
Thank you.
Dinosaur call.
Nice work.
Follow the Watcher. Proceed to next mission. A Dominator has been generated for your team. Use it to commandeer a dinosaur and attack the enemies. Summoning Pachycephalosaurus.
All right, I'm gonna invade so that way we can get a little bit of, so you guys can kind of see what the invasion looks like. So that's where, you know, I summoned a Dominator. You pick up, basically you pick up the item, right, and then you go in as this dinosaur. And this looks like primarily the PvE mode that we're looking at. So you don't actually engage directly.
Summoning Tyrannosaurus. Summoning Pachycephalosaurus.
I want this healer. Give me the healer.
Summoning Pachycephalosaurus. Summoning Tyrannosaurus.
Oh, okay. That did it. Okay, so you can't get knocked off the map. That's actually kind of interesting.
Dinosaur call.
So that's a new final mission variant.
You are victorious. This
That
team
one's just basically just a straight,
potential.
you know, horde mode all the way through. There's no objective or anything to defend.
Test. Take full advantage of this incredible employee benefit.
There's emotes. Kind of neat.
Behold, the best exo fighters in this war game.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's quick too. I think that's a really, really big thing in this benefit is that it's so quick. There's like kind of like an MVP screen. You get like commendations for different things. I'm assuming you also get extra experience. And this is where the kind of the meat of the progression is you get a player level. You get player levels. There's of course the battle pass levels. And then, you know, there's also like a separate suit level mechanic. Of course, you earn, you know, you earn these modules. You get this like kind of this lost data is kind of related to the story pieces. Yeah, so here you go. You can kind of see like the exosuit levels, like where your XP is going. So most obviously, like this is kind of like the starting one. This is the one that the tutorial puts you through is Deadeye. It's kind of your basic run of the mill. Like if Soldier 76 was a mech, it would be this guy, right? You can also see all the medals that you have obtained. This is very like Destiny-esque, where you kind of get like these medals for completing certain, I guess, thresholds in the game. Some are obviously harder than others. It's very neat because it adds kind of like a competitive, I wouldn't say competitive. I don't know how balanced it really is, or if balance is. I mean, I hope it's balanced, right? Because they do have the PvP element, but it definitely seems like it doesn't have to be necessarily. It seems like it does not necessarily have to be as head to head as something like Gambit or Apex or any of those like direct PvP games, because you can do that PvE portion. You can kind of take it a little bit more relaxed pace. Yeah, like final missions will not feature direct combat with the enemy team, so that just means you don't get to fight them. Like, you don't have to fight them directly in their exosuits, right? They can be they get Dominators instead, which are those are the dinosaur. Like, they can come in as a dinosaur. So we're gonna choose a tank now. I kind of want to play as a tank. This guy seemed pretty neat. I think I've seen him a couple times. So let's try to change it. Let me show you a little bit of the customization system. So again, like once you can choose both your exosuit, right? And you can also choose this kind of like, it's like a secondary, but this secondary is, these are these are not locked directly to Krieger. Like you can choose these for any of the suits. So we're just gonna stick with Cannon because why not? And then the modules, these are kind of like passives, right? And it looks like they can be leveled up as well. They've got a level on them, and you just unlock them like as your player level, or like as your, I guess some of these look like, okay, so some of them are locked to player level, some of them are locked to suit level. I'm assuming, are they always like colored whenever? Yeah, so the colored ones look like they're linked to suit level. And then, the others look like they're player level, you'll eventually get them. Craft is destroyed. Okay, interesting. So it's all a bunch of passives, and these seem relatively cheap, so let's just I guess purchase them. Oop, yes. And of course, like Bitcoins are like those are kind of your, oh goodness. Those are kind of your in-game currency for progression. Now, can I equip? Okay, so you can only equip each module once, right? Now, does it? Okay, so these change. But these other ones look like they're the same. Okay, so the other ones. So these might be like, okay, so these might be specific to the suit. In fact, they look like they are specific to the suit, and then these others, are they're just whatever. Like they can be used for whichever suit you have selected. This seems relatively minor. We'll keep it at, I don't know how much. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Oh, okay. Oh, neat. I mean, why don't we just bump it, right? There we go. 60%. So why not? Weapon skins, you can get cool little, looks like you can get like a purple one, orange. There's there's exosuit skins. I'm assuming this is where most of the microtransaction stuff is going to be towards. Most of them, it's kind of, some of these are like par for the course Apex reskins, but some of them are like a little bit more changes. Get decals. All right, let's get into another one. Okay, so I've gotten us into another match, and I actually selected a PvP one for this one, so that way we can get some. You guys can kind of get a sense of the PvP focused final missions. So again, remember that in the PvE ones, you don't ever fight the other team in their exosuits directly. However, they will still be able to invade with the Dominators, which are the dinosaurs with like the collars around their neck, when when they're available, right? So that they're still able to do that in the PvP mode. In the PvE mode, or I'm sorry, in the PV that's in the PvE mode. In the PvP mode, you will and can and likely like will almost 100% end up having to fight the other team in their exosuits, right? So keep that in mind. But they also still get access to their Dominators. Now, I haven't, during the final mission portion, I have not actually. I'm actually going to turn off voice chat because we're recording something. But I have not. It looks like in the PvP modes, you do end up on the same map. But I've not like tried to go find them, right?
Data indicates that human beings improve their performance through competition. Compete to win, and compete to live. Compete to achieve research excellence.
Ooh. Okay, so there's like a heat level on his. Okay, you got like a boost. That's a shield.
Prepare for transfer to the combat zone. Enjoy the war game.
I don't know if you guys have ever played the game like Virtual On. The aesthetic really reminds me of Virtual On.
Interdimensional transfer complete. The war game will be.
Oh, you feel chunky too.
Have a super day. You will now engage in a dinosaur combat test. Exofighters, follow the Watcher. Follow the narrative and join the mission. Initiating dinosaur call mission. Preparing combat. Please wait. Summon raptors.
Oh, we already have a tank.
Summon raptors.
I'm actually I need to change actually.
You are completing objectives faster than the enemy team. Follow the Watcher. Proceed to next mission. Initiating dinosaur call mission. Preparing combat. Please wait.
There we go. So this you can change suits in the middle of a fight. That's the kind of
Competition. Widespread incendiaries.
make up your team's deficiencies if they're there.
Dinosaur call.
Kind of playing like the grenade launcher guy now.
Objectives faster than the enemy team. Follow the Watcher. Proceed to next mission. Initiating dinosaur call mission. Preparing combat. Please wait. Summoning raptors.
It definitely it doesn't fire as quickly as like Junkrat's or Demo Man's grenade launcher.
Summoning raptors.
I don't know if we have a healer.
Dinosaur call. You are completing objectives faster than the enemy team.
definitely seem to be a lot faster than them. I think it's because we're running so much damage.
Call mission. Preparing combat area. Please wait. Summon raptors. Summon raptors.
Okay, so that kind of like my special ability kind of lets me put down a perimeter of grenades. What happens if I do that?
Summoning raptors.
Oh, neat. Like a thermite.
Dinosaur call complete. You are completing objectives faster than the enemy team. Follow the Watcher. Proceed to next mission. Initiating dinosaur call mission. Preparing combat area. Please wait. Summoning pteranodons. Summoning raptors. Dinosaur call. You are
It seems really good. I mean, that he seems really good.
follow the Watcher.
We just seem to be like I think it does a high amount of damage like per grenade, and then of course it's got a little bit of splash. The only thing that's really wrong with it is that it doesn't
Preparing combat.
seem to fire very quickly, but you kind of make up for it by just your other teammates being able to do this fire quickly. I think the other team's getting wiped by this Carnotaur.
Dinosaur call.
Okay.
You are completing objectives faster than the enemy team.
Oh yeah, 3 of them are down. They're having issues with that Carnotaurus.
You will now commence the final mission. Brace yourselves for interdimensional travel. Prepare for combat. The final mission will be data key security. Proximity to the data key.
Okay, so this is the cube. This is the cube one.
Escort it to the objective.
So if you played Overwatch or Team Fortress,
To repair it.
this is basically payload.
Entered this dimension. You are at great risk of being attacked. Stay alert at all times. Summon raptors. Summoning pteranodons. Summoning pteranodons.
The arcing on this also seems very, very generous. Like I'm really not having to aim that much.
Summon raptors. Warning. The enemy team has activated the Dominator. Enemy control dinosaurs. Prioritize its destruction. The enemy team is on the offensive. Fight back. Stay near the data to escort it and complete the mission. A Dominator has been generated for your team. Use the Dominator to commandeer a dinosaur and attack the enemies. Your allies are on the offensive. Team.
Okay, so he took the Dominator that time. So another thing as well, whenever you do the Dominator in this mode, you're kind of leaving your team a man down, so that can be very, very problematic for them if they need to fend off.
The enemy data key has progressed.
There you go.
40%.
And there does, just like in TF2 or Overwatch, it takes like once you've been kind of pushed off of the payload, it takes a little bit of time for it to restart and start moving forward again.
Escort progress 60%. Summon raptors. The enemy data
Yeah, you just rack up so much score as this class. So if you look through that arch that I'm looking through right now, the other team actually normally comes out through that arch. And we may actually get to see them.
Dominator activated. Take advantage of this unique asset and defeat the enemy.
There they are. There's one of them there.
Escort progress.
So I have my ult ready as well, and I'm kind of hoping to, if I save it, I don't know what my ult does, but we're gonna find out. We'll test it out on the enemy team. So it's kind of interesting too, because of like how this class can kind of just lob grenades over. Like I can kind of just spam this towards this arch.
Victory is near. Demonstrate exemplary combatability by defeating the enemy team.
Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can actually invade towards them, and it looks like I actually can.
Data key has reached the objective. Begin preparations for aerial transfer of the data. Preparation.
Yeah, okay, so you definitely, like, you can straight up turn this into
Continue escorting the data.
PvP. Yep, like that. Oh, now we're okay. It definitely does not care about protecting spawns. They'll just pop out right there. Oh, I thought some of us were still on the payload.
Let's watch the world burn.
I think we all got greedy.
The enemy data key has progressed 80%. A well-balanced combat.
It does a lot of damage against them. Yeah, now the healer's stuck over there. Okay, he's dead now.
Data key transfer preparation 60%.
And I just nailed somebody from around the corner. Yeah, this seems a little busted. I don't know if they probably need to balance that a little bit.
Test complete.
There you go.
You are victorious. This team demonstrates tremendous potential.
All right, we were
Rest
We kind of bullied them a little bit. That was kind of mean.
Take full advantage of this incredible employee benefit.
I'm a real hot commodity.
Behold, the best exo fighters in this war game.
Oh, hey, look, I got MVP. Yeah, and so you don't get a bonus. There's like a 1.2x bonus for doing the random one, but we don't get that bonus here. All right, cool. Of course, we leveled up. I don't know what these are. I'm assuming there's like these are badges. I think, yeah. Okay, I think these are badges. Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, that was kind of a continuing impressions. That was 2 fights. One was a PvE and one was a PvP. We kind of checked out a little bit of the options here, just a little bit more in depth, and actually purchased a couple of the upgrades. So I'm hoping that this gives you a little bit more of an impression of whether or not this game is for you. Gave you a little bit of gameplay, actually a lot of gameplay. This was probably a lot more gameplay than any other video I've done, just because there's just not a whole lot here. Like, you know, there's not a whole lot of dialogue. Most of the dialogue happens in these cutscenes that, as you do the dino survival, you'll get you know, cutscene progress, and it'll play these cutscenes after the mission that you just did. So, you know, probably on the next one I'll do another dino survival, and then we'll get like a cutscene unlock, right? And I'll leave those for you guys to find. I don't, you know, you don't need to see. If you care about the story, I don't want to spoil that for you. The game's only been out for 2 weeks as the time of this recording, so I don't want to spoil that for you if you're really interested in it. But with that being said, so let's talk a little bit about the game itself. So, good things about it. You know, it's definitely a little unique. Like, it does have some bits of Overwatch and TF2, but there's some stuff in here that's kind of fun that neither of those do. TF2 kind of does this, where you have a little bit of a loadout system. You can kind of change bits and bobs of your character, give yourself extra abilities, different passives. TF2 does that with like its hat system, and it's got like different equipment. You know, there's like the big one. The one that I remember is the sandwich that the heavy gets. You can like heal himself. So it can kind of, you can kind of tailor your character a little bit more to how you like to play. Now, with that being said, your exosuits are kind of tailored towards a different kind of roles on a team, right? There's still the classic DPS, tank, and support, but as you saw there, you know, does seem to be a little bit of freedom whenever you do your choices. Now, again, like I'm not terribly high level. I've only, you know, we've done 5 dino survivals, so it could get harder. Maybe it gets a lot sweatier and a lot more competitive higher on up. I have not lost a match, but the people I'm playing with seem to be, you know, they seem to be at least doing their jobs and not. And, you know, we always have a support, or I'll play a support. We always have a tank. We don't have like 5 people who only play DPS or something like that. Although it might still be competitive. I don't know. Maybe 5 DPS players who are really good can just kind of tear this up. Now with that, let's get to the stuff I still don't like. You know, it at least stopped showing me whenever I was playing through my first couple of matches, it was still showing me the premium currency buy, which I'm not liking, but it does seem like it's tuned it down. I haven't gotten any windows that, to my recollection, of, hey, buy this battle pass. And it doesn't seem to be pointing it in my face anymore. It's down here still. I still don't like that they already have microtransactions in a game that's only been out for 2 weeks. But, you know, at least it seems to have gotten less intrusive, right? So my kind of take on this game is it's definitely got good bones. The fact that it is on Game Pass, I think, adds to its credit a lot. This is definitely a very big Game Pass game. It is on Steam. and I believe there's crossplay. I do believe there is crossplay. So if you've got friends who are playing on PlayStation or Xbox, um, and it's available on those, which it should be at least available on Xbox because I believe Game Pass games are almost available on all the Microsoft platforms. I would imagine that it is on PlayStation as well. You know, you can do cross-platform between all of those launchers and consoles and machines, right? So that's a big thing in its favor. Games like this are very they're there's obviously a bot. There does seem to be a bot system. So if it's not able to fill a full team, it does seem to fill in the spots with bots, and the bots seem competent enough. I guess it's probably enough for you to get through the story. I still have not managed to lose a game and see if there is no progress or whatever towards your next cutscene, right? It might be fine. I would imagine that the way that this game is kind of structured, it either tries very difficult, or it tries very hard to make sure that you are getting a good string of progress matches before you start getting kind of like, the quote unquote raffle stomped, right? So that's a big plus in its favor. It seems very accessible. It definitely, I mean, so far I've been having fun with it. We're probably going to play this a little bit more on stream just to see, like, kind of delve into a little bit more, because I'm just very intrigued by this. I'm just kind of very surprised by this, and it's kind of weird. I didn't really have that high hopes for it. Whenever I saw the trailers and stuff, I was like, ooh, that looks like Warframe, but it's not quite like Warframe. It's not quite a looter shooter, but it's not quite like Overwatch either. And it's kind of fun. I mean, not kind of fun. I mean, I think it's really fun, and I think it deserves you checking it out. I think we'll keep playing this, though. I think my verdict on this is we're going to keep playing this. I hope you enjoyed this kind of like continuing impressions of Exoprimal. You can pick this up on Xbox Game Pass. It is included inside of the membership. I have the PC Game Pass. I think I have the Ultimate version, but I only play on PC. So you can check it out there. It is included, which I think that's perfect for. It is on Steam. Last I checked, at the time of this recording, it is $60. I imagine that it is probably going to be $60 on the other platforms as well. So not as highly priced as, a big AAA game. I know $70 games have been very common lately and kind of the norm, but $60, it's only $10 less, but maybe that $10 less is maybe that's a make it or break it point for you. So, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you get something out of this. I hope that this kind of gives you the information you need to be an informed buyer and to, tell if this is something that you want to spend money on. Now, I will say this definitely seems like the type of game that Capcom would probably discount in about 6 months. So I would look for it. At $60 is a little bit too hard of a pill to swallow. I would definitely look for this game to be on sale. I would say that, like, once it starts, even if it dips $15-20 down to like $40 or $30, I think this would be a blast to play. And you can probably sucker your friends and play as well, because it definitely seems like it'd be a lot of fun with some mates that just kind of want to chill out, talk over killing a bunch of dinosaurs, maybe get a little PvP in, maybe not. Like I said, this is very like, I like this addition here, being able to choose whether or not you want to do PvP or PvE. And with the addition of the random, I'm sure this is in here, and you'll probably have quicker matchmaking times if you choose random. That's probably why they put it in there, and that's why they give you the option for it to, and it also gives you a 1.2x XP bonus. But I definitely think, I think even because of the bot system and because it autofills bots, you probably can actually conceive this well after the player base has gone down to a couple hundred players or something like that. Now, that being said, those couple hundred players are probably going to be pretty cracked out. Games like this usually end up having kind of a cult fan base that they play this game until they shut the servers down. I could definitely see this game being one of those games. It has kind of all the hallmarks of, like, kind of interesting aesthetic, unique type of gameplay that no other game out there is really offering right now. Because, like, Overwatch's PvE mode is not there, right? You have bots in TF2, but TF2 doesn't really have like this like it doesn't really have a narrative focus. It's just kind of it's PvP only with some bots. You know, maybe that Steam community has changed over the years since I last played it, but there's not really anything like this. And it is, if you liked Left 4 Dead, you know, this is definitely that kind of horde style shooter with some kind of competitive flair. And on top of that, it's mech suits and dinosaurs. Like, it's kind of that in and of itself. If that doesn't even convince, especially if you have Game Pass, if that doesn't convince you to check this out, maybe you're just not a very fun person. But again, I hope you enjoyed this look. I really, really hope this is valuable to you. You know, let me know if this is the type of stuff that you guys like to see. Any feedback is always great, and just remember that we always do first impressions on games that I want to try to maybe do a continuing impressions on, or potentially a review on, live on stream. I try to stream throughout the week, but please check me out. Otherwise, you guys have a good rest of the day or night, wherever you are, or morning, whatever, and have a good one.